What if the person you can't stop thinking about isn't trapped inside your mind, but inside a prediction your brain never got to finish? Think about it. Out of the thousands of people you've met throughout your life, why does one person keep returning to your thoughts? A familiar song, a quiet street, or even an ordinary smell can suddenly bring them back. Sometimes years pass, yet one small reminder is enough to make it feel as if nothing has changed. Most people call this love, but psychology suggests something far more fascinating. Your brain may not be holding onto a person. It may be holding onto an unfinished prediction. Imagine a detective working on an important case. Just before discovering the truth, the final page of the case file disappears. Even after solving dozens of new cases, one part of the detective's mind keeps returning to the unfinished one. Not because it was the biggest mystery, but because it never reached an ending. Your brain behaves in a surprisingly similar way. When a relationship ends without clear answers, when feelings remain unspoken, or when someone slowly fades out of your life instead of saying goodbye, your mind doesn't simply move on. It quietly keeps searching for meaning. That's why you replay conversations in your head. You wonder whether you missed a sign. You imagine different endings. Sometimes, you even create conversations that never happened. Here's the strange part. Your brain isn't trying to change the past. It's trying to reduce uncertainty. Research suggests our minds naturally dislike uncertainty. So an uncomfortable truth often feels easier to carry than endless unanswered questions. But unfinished stories are only half the explanation. The other half begins with something surprisingly ordinary. Imagine a man who walks past the same coffee shop every morning. 2 years earlier, he met someone there only once. They never dated. They never exchanged phone numbers. Yet every time he passes that cafe, he feels something he can't explain. Is he really missing that person? Or is he missing the future his mind quietly imagined in those few minutes? That's how memory often works. Your brain doesn't always hold on to people. Sometimes it holds on to possibilities. Our brains don't measure memories by time. They measure them by emotion. A single moment filled with hope, excitement, embarrassment, or deep connection can become more memorable than hundreds of ordinary days. Without realizing it, your brain begins protecting the feeling attached to that memory, which leads to an uncomfortable possibility. Maybe you aren't holding on to that person. Maybe you're holding on to the version of yourself that only seemed possible when they were part of your life. If that's true, then here's the question that changes everything. What are you really trying to get back? The person or the feeling you experienced when they were in your life? There's an important difference. Many people believe they're chasing someone they lost, but often they're chasing hope, comfort, acceptance, or the future they quietly imagined with that person. Once your brain connects those emotions to a memory, it starts treating that memory like something valuable that shouldn't be forgotten. That's why trying to force yourself to forget usually has the opposite effect. Imagine someone tells you, whatever you do, don't think about your front door. For a moment, you probably pictured it, not because it mattered, but because your brain had to find it before it could ignore it. The same thing happens every time you tell yourself, I need to stop thinking about them. Your brain quietly asks, who am I trying not to think about? And the memory appears again. The problem isn't that you're thinking about them. The problem is believing every thought deserves your attention. A thought is not a command. It's simply an event that passes through your mind. Instead of fighting it, notice it. Let it arrive. Let it leave, like watching a cloud drift across the sky without trying to hold it there. Over time, your brain learns that the memory is no longer urgent, and memories that are no longer emotionally rewarded slowly lose their power. So what should you do next? Stop waiting for perfect closure. Not every chapter ends with an explanation. Sometimes the healthiest ending is the one you decide to write yourself. Fill your life with new experiences. Learn a skill you've always wanted to master. Visit places you've never been. Spend time with people who inspire you to grow. Your brain is always creating new emotional memories, so give it something worth remembering. One day, you'll think about them for the last time. The strange part is, you probably won't even notice when it happens, because healing rarely arrives with one dramatic goodbye. It arrives quietly, the moment your mind discovers a future more meaningful than the past. Maybe the real goal was never to forget someone. Maybe it was to become someone your past could no longer control. If this video changed the way you think, let me know in the comments. Do you think you're missing the person or the future you once imagined with them? And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind everyday life, subscribe to The Hidden Mind. because the greatest mystery you'll ever solve is the one inside your own mind.